Good morning, Friday the 22nd of November. Welcome to another weekly update with us here at Ogbourne Downs Golf Club. This week we've had wet, snow, cold, frosty weather, which has really dictated to us what we can and can't achieve on the golf course. So course setups this week have very much been just moving the markers into new teeing positions, and yeah, not a lot else. You can't get on and cut all those surfaces and roll all those surfaces when there's snow on the ground and frost and all that sort of thing. So our team are all studying for further education in greenkeeping, which is fantastic. Our two assistant greenkeepers, Ben and Stuart, are both studying towards their level 2 greenkeeper certificate, and Mark, our deputy, has previously done his level 2 and is on to a more advanced level, which is level 3. So with that, it's all online, and we are supposed to give them 8 hours a week to do that. So we've had a real catch up week this week of the boys. Boys have done quite a lot of their college work this week to get them really firing and started on that. They signed up for it back in September, and we've had some really great weather since September. So we've been out on the course, and as you can see from the out on the course and from previous weekly updates, we've been putting a lot of focus onto course projects and taking advantage of the good weather and getting out there and getting those jobs done and finishing off those projects nice and early in the year, and then when the weather starts dictating to us whether we can or can't set up a golf course and continue on with projects massively, then that is good. We can use that downtime, and our team will reap the rewards of that, because they'll be more educated, more enthusiastic greenkeepers for being more qualified and all that sort of thing. So that's good. That's a good thing that we can do in some downtime of the weather and things like that. So yeah. So that's pretty much the general course setup this week. Not a huge amount going on. You would have noticed we've got when we do have this cold snaps and cold weather, we do put what we call frost pins out on the golf course. So all the pins are right at the front of the greens. The idea of that is that we're trying to protect the main green from the frost. So you play to the front of the greens, and we're trying to protect the rest of that main green where possible and where we can. So hopefully that all makes sense, and you will see that you'll see that in the photo and out on the golf course. So yeah, as I said, that weather is as dictated to us what we can and can't do. So that sees us, as I said, do some college work and doing a bit of work back in the yard and in the workshop and all that sort of thing. Something that's worth noting on as well with the leaves this year's had a bit of a different year to what we usually get. In the three full leaf falling seasons that I've been involved in the club, generally we, as I'm sure you're aware, that we get quite a lot of high winds at Ogbourne, and it can be a very windy site. So quite often the leaves are falling and they're all sort of almost being blown off the course, and we're there blowing out bunkers and things where they collect and keeping the greens and tees tidy. And generally, nature does this thing with the wind whipping across the site, but that very much hasn't been the case this year. I had as I said, a almost strange year where very calm conditions over the whole season, where the leaves have been falling. So a lot of them have fallen straight under the trees this year. So a lot more leaves hanging around than usual. But looking at the weather forecast of the weekend, the wind is getting up. It's going to be quite stormy as well with the wet weather as well. So hopefully that will start getting them blown away, and then we'll continue to push those in the right direction off the golf course, and hopefully that will all be tidied up fairly soon. So we've started a new project this week, having closed down the first pathway and mound and 12th extension of the winter tee and the 8th chalk bunker. Now they're all closed down. We've moved on to the next project, which is levelling the 17th winter tee. We're now classing that bottom tee as the winter tee and also the red tee. As we put the red tees down there, as we feel it's an easier angle in to use the upslope to help stop the ball. And then so that'll be what we classed as the winter tee to give the newly constructed tees last year as a rest over the winter. So this is, I think, over the whole site, it's an area that probably lets the golf course down a little bit, is the uneven tees. So this is probably the worst one, most uneven tee, and it's on our shortest par 3 as well. So we weren't able to do that tee last year while we were constructing the main ones, as there'd have been nowhere to tee off from unless you put a mat and have to change the measured course and all that sort of thing. So we've moved that to this year. So this is what we've been up to this week. We've been out there taking all the turf off, put that on a silage sheet just down to the side. So that's easy to pick back up. It's the best method that you can do to turn a tee round and get it back in play, really, is to use the native turf that's there. New turf does decay and doesn't last very well. It's okay year one, but it doesn't tend to last the course. It does get very, very worn and really, really struggles, and it feels like a fighting battle to keep newly laid turf that's imported a good teeing surface. And then seed's great, but does takes that time of growing in. So it's the ideal situation to have that native turf that's taken off that tee. So yeah, it was taking that off, and then the digger's been across there and found the high spots and spread that around a little bit, and then we're just starting to insert the boards and they're all laser leveled in. So we know that's nice and level. So yeah, that's the project we've been up to when we've had chance this week, and then we'll get on to and continue that next week with leveling that tee and finish off those boards and getting some new soil in there, and then we'll the next phase would be to get the turf back on top and let that start recovering and get that in play for next year. One more job we are working on doing in the frost, bad weather. This area that you can see photographed, this is left of 13 or behind the newly constructed 8th white tee. This is sort of what we call our 13th dump. There's been a lot of poor dumping up here for years and years and years, so which has all come out to sort of the pathway. So we're just trying to clear all this, push it back towards our land boundary, to create a flat area so that we can get in here and start tipping things in here. We'd like to we sort of have a bit of a tip site down at the back of the driving range there. We'd like to give that back to the driving range so we don't lose so many balls in the rubble at the back there, and it improves the visuals of the driving range. And also in time up here we'd probably like to put a bay or two in for storing materials such as top dressing materials and things like that, because it's a long way to drive when you load up a hopper full of sand up and drive up to the 13th green, and top dress that green, and then it's a long drive back. So it'd be a great middle area to store some dressings in to reduce that travel time and speed that job up. And it gives us a much better dumping site, which is sort of much more out of sight, out of mind. So something else we've been up to this week, and a job we can do in the hard frost, and the digger can crack on and keep clearing that area. And additionally, we're finding some really good soil in this area too. So that would we'll sort of try and keep all the best soil in one pile, and then store all the less desirable stuff at the back. So we can use that going forward for many of the construction projects and things we have going on. So yeah, it's an extra resource of materials for us. That's all for this week, folks, and we'll catch up again at the end of next week.